Well, had they flagged my channel or something, I don't think they would let me go right back to broadcasting again. And it looks like they are.
Probably had a hiccup.
It's weird though, because it streams directly from Zoom loop, from Zoom to YouTube. So, all right, anybody, hello, everybody. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet. Something happened to the connection between Zoom and YouTube. We're pretty sure it was not aliens or Russians. So we're going to just kind of continue on where we are right now. But this is the Southwest Florida TechNet. And tonight we're deep diving hurricanes, and specifically the one that they're getting ready to name after me, which I'm not all that happy about. But I filed the appropriate complaints and nothing's going to happen. Anyway, that's what you get. I have had the name Hurricane.
At work will give you a hard time.
Well, she wasn't Hurricane Katrina for 30 years of her life. I mean, this was literally my given nickname at the fire station for years, was Hurricane Ian. And I've used that when I was in ghost hunting. That was my screen name. And I use it for everything. It's even my screen name now with stuff I do here. So I don't know. I don't know how they can just use my name without my permission, but whatever. All right. I'm just kidding, of course. You guys know I'm not that ignorant. All right. So anyway, you gotta qualify that nowadays. You're like, oh God.
Yeah.
That guy is so stupid. God damn, he's dumb.
Yeah, you can fix everything but stupid.
Yeah. He says the stupidest shit, and you can't fix that.
Yeah.
So here's a couple more runs that they just did. This was from, well, these are runs earlier today anyway. Showing the approach there. I don't know if you guys realize or not, everybody's always talking about, the mountains in Cuba are going to take care of it. I'm sure that the mountains in Cuba are going to take care of it. But the problem is there's really not big mountains in Cuba where this thing's about to cross. It's kind of hard to tell on this map, but this is your mountain range. See the dark green? Yeah. That's your mountain range. And then you've got a few here, and you've got a big mountain range over here. You see what I mean? A big mountain range here. There is no mountains between here and roughly here. There's like a spot there where it's really not that, there's not that high right there.
That's pretty rough if it goes right over top of a valley, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, look, anytime it goes over land, it's going to lower it because it's cutting off its fuel supply. But what I'm saying is some of these mountains up here and some of these mountains apparently on the other end too, down here, are like over 10,000 feet. I mean, they're big mountains. But there's a spot here where you kind of have a hole where there's not any big mountains right there. So I was just pointing that out. It's just a weird anomaly. Yeah. And this one, they're talking about it taking more of a track that's going to go up like that. Something kind of like, it's probably going to come up something like this. And then it's going to go over that spot where it's not going to be right over the highest of the mountains. So that's all I'm saying. People are saying, oh, Cuba's going to kill it. I'm like, Cuba really doesn't kill that many storms. If you look back historically,
Hispaniola that kills them.
Yeah. If it goes over this end part right here, if it was going right over this mountain range like that, it would take a category. Going through here, it might almost take a category. It might take a category off going that way. But I'm just saying it's not as much as you would think sometimes anyway. All right. So enough of that. All right. I do want to do, I could have left it in that mode here. Let's do one more quick thing. Let's take a look at the model runs. Up here on the right up here, you can see here, we're going to run the GFS first. Here's some things you can do on this. It's really, I love these things. You can go to regions and you can pick the region. And if you pick a smaller region, it shows you a different graphic. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this forward and we can see this is the GFS. This is the American model. Notice it takes it over more of the mountains like we talked about. It actually goes over more of those mountains.
Yeah.
948, it shows it deepening even as it comes off those mountains. 943 millibars. Yeah. 943 could easily be a category 3 hurricane. 937 could easily be a category 4 hurricane at that point. 932. It is so rare to see numbers that low on even on long range forecasting like this. It's just pretty unusual. And then of course the GFS always has it to the left. The GFS has been running to the left of all the models all year. But it's got it going in somewhere between Tallahassee and Pensacola up there.
The GFS hasn't been particularly good this year, though, has it? Hasn't been particularly accurate.
No, we don't say it too loud around the Brits, but the Euro's the best performing model right now. But again, I don't like to say it too loud.
No, they get. You got to be careful. They get a bit big-headed. You know?
They get a little pissy.
Yeah, well, you can understand that. It's all these.
Hey, whatever it is, it's the best model. I'll tell you that. All
right, it's been the most reliable this year.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the Euro. Here we go. Listen, you can hear it. Bloody hell, get out me way.
Oh, that load of bollocks. Yeah.
Yeah. You better get your bumper shoot. But anyway, for some reason, this is as far as this one's running right now. But even there, it's at 953? Is that what 934 that's 934 millibars right there.
That's heading straight for us.
Yep. That's coming straight up.
Straight up for
934 millibars. Let's look at the last run since this one's not working right.
That's right over top of Marco. That looks like it's coming in.
Any idea what the lowest barometric pressure was for a hurricane on record?
898 or 870. Yeah, it's right in that area.
Yeah,
if you get down into the 800s, I mean, you're talking biblical stuff.
Yeah, I thought I remember Andrew being in the 880.
Okay, this one, yeah, Andrew was 898 or 889, something. It was 8s and 9s, I remember.
Gilbert was 888, and then Wilma was 882.
You realize how deep that is? I mean, if you suddenly beamed into the middle of that hurricane, it would blow your eardrums out. Yeah. Anyway, I always wondered that on Star Trek. How do they do the pressure differential between where you're at and where you're beaming to? Anyway, that's another one for the day. This is going to be, this is the Euro. What I did. Oh, there he goes, pissing on me parade. Anyway, this one here, this is the Euro. And what I did was I went back one run. So this is 6 hours earlier. This is the Euro from like 8 or 9 hours ago. And there's 970 and it's coming up on Key West, 967, 962, 965, 949, 940
to Marco.
Yeah.
No, that's further north than
no, that's straight into
Fort
Myers.
Yeah.
So it's going into like North Naples or Bonita in that area. Dude, listen, it's too early to worry about 20 miles. But the biggest thing to worry about is that 949 millibars is a major hurricane.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. So,
just ask the Punta Gorda residents about 20 miles difference.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they were having hurricane parties. The next thing you know, they're holding themselves down in a bathtub.
Yeah. Well, ask the folks in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Homestead about the difference too.
Did I just see that?
Yes, you did just see that. I see a second landfall now in the Euro.
Oh yeah,
into the North South Carolina.
Yeah, almost Wilmington. Myrtle Beach, Wilmington area.
Yeah, that's right on the North Carolina, South Carolina line.
Yeah, right between Myrtle Beach and Wilmington.
Wow.
That puts the Outer Banks on the shitty side.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting because we haven't been seeing that far down the track. It's interesting that it's seeing that right now. Let's go to regions and let's do this one. I like this because it gives you the green map, which I like a little better than the blue pressure map. 992, 990, 989, 988, 986. Not as this one is this is the Canadian model.
Yeah.
What are Canadians? They're about to get their first hurricane in how many years?
Ever.
Yeah, probably.
Like in
Let's
Nova
see here.
Scotia, I think it's since 1850, since records began in Nova Scotia, they've not seen one.
Yep.
Well, that's right now, I believe. I mean, it's just about this moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting close. It went by Bermuda this morning.
Yeah, way past. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one shows it going straight up the coast. This is a Charlie scenario right here. If it takes a right turn right there, you're screwed. But so it's one of those things. Even that's a little bit scary
Like
there.
Elsa last year went right up the coast.
Yep. Yep. So let's go back. This is the Euro again. And this
Let's
time
hope it does.
we'll leave it in pressure mode this time. And we'll take a look at how this thing deepens. Let's see here.
So
And
this is where it's at now, and now it's starting to become. I want to see it jumped. Yeah, okay.
And that goes over the lower part of Cuba right there.
Yeah.
And let's go.
This
This model is actually still running. So I need to go back to the 12Z, which is not that long ago. Because the new one's just loading up now. So but this one will take it right over that thin part of Cuba where there's not that many mountains, and then just close to Key West, and then right into Southwest Florida, and 949 millibars. Again, that's a Cat 3 hurricane. So,
Yeah.
and as shown, it is a fairly large system.
Yeah, it's bigger than Florida. 70, 80 miles across comfortably.
Well,
Yeah.
Hurricane Donna, for perspective, had hurricane force winds extending out 125 miles from the
Right.
island.
Well, this is a pressure gradient map. This is showing you the isobars of pressure,
Yeah.
but it gives us a general size of the storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that they're showing it deepening out to 1,004 millibars all the way out 200 miles, 250 miles from the center. So it's going to be a pretty big storm, I think. All right, let's see what else we can look at here. This is put out by the Water Management District. This is another run of models. Again, they've shifted left a little bit. We're seeing that. That's been common. This is your intensity modeling. Intensity modeling is not necessarily, it actually is not as good a science as the direction and speed modeling has actually gotten over the years, but they're getting there. Most of your models all believe this thing's going to be a Category 3 hurricane.
Yeah.
A lot of times you won't see quite that much consensus. That's a lot of consensus. Almost every single one of your models believes that at some point this thing, here we are 96 hours, 108 hours out. It's basically
111 to 130.
Yeah. So that's crazy. And then we have two here that think that see some really big things down the road.
But that's not location wise, that's just time wise, isn't it? So we don't, even though it's going to be a Cat 3, we don't know where.
We don't know where unless what you have to do is look at the numbers down here. And look, this is 96 hours out right here. So you just have to kind of go figure and 108 hours. So that's your timeline. So it's going to be its strongest between 96 hours from now and 108 hours from now.
Yeah, but we don't know
So
where.
you got to
it's
go
gonna
back
be
and look
stronger.
at the map and figure that out where that
Yeah.
is.
Exactly. So you would just let me get out of this mode here. We would go back to crap. Where's it at? Here. You would go to this. Let me take the shit off the screen. You would go to this thing here and you would look at this and you'd figure out, okay, what is it? Today is Friday let's say it's Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday 8 p.m., Sunday 8 p.m., Monday 8 p.m. So this here is
72 hours.
that's 72 hours out. So we're from getting the first winds, we're about 72 hours out. So we're probably about 80 hours, 85 hours from landfall. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now we go back to here. 85 hours from landfall is going to be, it's going to put you,
Cat 2.
it's going to put you right up in there somewhere.
Mhm.
I'm crooked, but you know what I mean. It's going to be right in this area somewhere. So yeah, it's still going to be a strengthening storm as it gets here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Cat 3 when it gets here. I really believe that's what we're going to be looking at. And what's the good news? Well, it's not going to have been a Cat 3 for very long. You remember Katrina? Katrina was a Cat 3 when it made landfall. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it killed all them people, flooded all them people, ruined all them people.
it had been a Cat 5.
Because it was a Cat 5 2 days earlier and a Cat 4 the morning before, the afternoon before. So when it hit, it was carrying all that sea of a Cat 5 and a surge of a Cat 4 and the energy of a Cat 4. All that was still coming, even though the actual spinning part of the storm was down to a Cat 3 because it had actually gotten into less favorable conditions. The difference,
Plus, they took a direct hit too.
they took a direct hit, yes, but they took a direct hit from what was a weakening storm. But the reason that it did so much damage was because a lot of that energy takes days and days and days to dissipate. Conversely, in this storm, we're not going to have that scenario. This storm is only going to be a major hurricane for a few hours before it finally hits land somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 hours. So it's not going to be able to spool up a whole bunch of Cat 5 energy because it's only going to be a Cat 3. You see what I'm saying? So I really don't see this major like Katrina type event with this storm. Because I don't see it carrying all that extra energy as if it was coming across the Gulf as a Cat 5 and then downgraded to a 3 and came in with all that extra energy.
Unless it slows down, unless that low pressure coming from, up across the country keeps it down a little bit and it slows it down a little bit, then it could start gaining across when it's going across all that hot water.
Right.
Picking up energy.
Let me find a map that I can use for this. Let's see here. Let me find this one again. Now, let me erase that. Let me show you. All right. Well, what were you asking? I'm sorry. I just totally.
No, I was saying unless it slows down. Like the bottom H on that map that I can see anyway, the bottom, below Cuba. I mean, if it slows down when it's coming through there, it's going to pick up a lot of energy. That's the thing we're still a bit vague about is the speed of it.
Right. Well, here's the thing. You got this front that's going to come through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And what you're saying is, okay, what if the storm slows down?
Well, if that front pushes down a little bit and it slows down, then it's going to build.
Yeah. But here's the thing. If the storm slows down, like you say, then it's going to start that right turn sooner.
Yeah.
Which means it could hit Naples or the Keys or Miami versus hitting up here. Yeah. If this storm were to slow down and the slower it goes, the more to the right it's going to go because that front's going to be arriving sooner. See what I mean?
Later. Yeah. Yeah.
Later. Yeah. And so as this front will actually be further down, which is going to make it turn. If the storm speeds up, then it's going to be flying and it's going to be going straight and it's not going to make this turn because it's actually beat the cold front by a little bit and it'll actually make a later turn like that. So the speed of the storm is actually going to play a big role. A slower speed or a faster speed is going to determine when it makes that turn. The other factor, the other unknown is these fronts also change speed as they're coming down.
Yeah.
So this could speed up or slow down a little bit, which again will directly affect where it makes that right turn. So
if it slows down, if that front slows down, the GMS one is going to be right. If it speeds up, then the Euro one is going to be right.
I think it's kind of the opposite, really, because the American model
No, the front, not the hurricane, the front.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're correct. I was thinking one thing, you were saying the other. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yep. So it like I said, you have to watch two different things and their speed in relation to each other. It's almost like two trains coming towards each other on the tracks.
Yeah.
If one of them speeds up a little bit or slows down, it's going to change the point at which the trains hit.
But one thing that is in our favor as such is that front has been pretty consistent because it started up in Alaska over a week ago when it had that huge storm up there. It's been pretty consistent, slowing down a little by little by little as it's been coming across the country. Yep. So that could, I don't know whether that's going to do us any favors or not, because like you say, we're going to have the storm. We're going to be on the right-hand side of the storm, which is where all the freaking energy in the wind's going to be.
Yep.
So it's, if we want it to, well, the bit that was worrying me that a lot of people aren't really taking a lot of care about it is that great mass of warm water. I mean, even the water out here, in the, out from Wiggins Pass and what out there, it's still in the high 80s, the water, and it's deep. The temperature goes down a long way. So that means that's a lot of energy for the darn storm to pick up.
You're absolutely correct on all that.
Yeah.
They're saying the depth of the heat in the water is more than normal, and the temperature of the water is higher than normal.
And that's all energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like you, I think this is going to be an interesting storm, but not to be taken lightly.
We need to just issue a tornado warning and all leave.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'm not going. I can't go without, regardless. I've got a 93-year-old mother-in-law lives with us, and she can't move.
Do you have a generator that will pull your air conditioner?
No. Well, it will if I don't have anything else running, but I want to keep my refrigerators going, and
that's the thing, is
other stuff.
All right. Well, I want to.
It's even more important than air conditioning.
Yeah, I was seriously thinking.
Number one, there's nothing more important than an air conditioner in the entire world.
No, I don't agree.
I do. I won't live without an air. I can't sleep without it. I can't live without it. So, I got Central, but I don't use it a lot because it costs so damn much money that I actually have some small window units in the bedrooms. And so when we have a storm, we just switch to the window units, and I run them on my 5K. And I can run my window unit here, my big window unit in the bedroom, my small window unit in my son-in-law's room. And with that running, I can still run both my well pump and my tank pump and my refrigerator and still have power left over for devices and computers and things like that. So it's not so bad. What I suggest you do, a refrigerator that's not fanned is good for 48 hours.
Yeah.
If I were you, and this is just me, I would do all my phone charging, all of my anything I need power for, charging all your batteries, running your refrigerator, running any other appliances, running everything. I would do at night, and I would run that air conditioner during the day. That's just me.
Yeah, well, we get acclimatized. So every afternoon I sit out on the lanai. I've got a covered lanai, faces northeast, but every afternoon I sit out there and have my little nap and do my Sudoku and stuff like that. So I kind of.
No, I know the average person can handle the heat. I can't.
Yeah.
When I was a firefighter, I was just miserable, but I did it because I loved my job and I loved what I did. But I just was never acclimated. I go to these brush fires and I was just the most miserable SOB. I didn't treat anybody bad, but I was miserable. I hated my life. It's so hot. Yeah. I really should have lived up north. I think in my last life I was an Eskimo or something, because I absolutely well. Then again, my love for Taco Bell makes me wonder about that. But anyway, there's got to be
hot when we didn't have air conditioning. It was miserable.
Do you like hot sauce?
You could sleep. Yeah.
Yes, I love hot sauce.
Oh, there you go. Then. That's okay.
I
drink hot tea. Sauce. If you drink hot tea, it cools your core down, or it makes your body think your core is hot, so it cools your body down. Drinking cold drinks actually makes you hotter.
I've heard that a lot of times. I don't know if I believe it, but I've heard it.
Unless it's beer.
Well, look at all the Indians. You know, they live in like
Yeah.
a swamp, and they drink hot tea.
I always thought it was funny how many things they gave people alcohol, liquor, as the cure for things. And we find out today that liquor's not the cure for anything, really.
That was like smoking.
It'll kill germs in the right atmosphere, but come on.
They used to
Anyway.
put cocaine in everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I got a suggestion for you. If you guys live in Cape Coral, I know at least one of you that lives in Cape Coral.
Me.
They actually have this ignorant law there that you cannot buy liquor once a state of emergency is issued.
Yeah.
Beer or liquor. And I think DeSantis just issued a state of emergency about 3 hours ago, preemptively. So you may not be able to buy beer in Cape Coral tonight. I don't know. They may wait till the city does it in a couple of days. I don't know, but I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Cape Coral, for your wonderful ordinances. I always wondered why is it safer when a storm's coming to make somebody drive across a bridge to get their beer?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, that's another world, isn't it? It's because the government are running it, you know?
Just sort
Yeah,
of delivery.
I don't want to get into all that.
You're trying to, you know, equate, you know, whatever they're called, public servants and government with logic. You know?
Because truthfully, the government in their mind thinks we're going to keep people safe.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what, the
things they
government
do on the grounds of safety is
I know.
unreal, you know.
The government has never prevented alcohol from touching lips that wanted it.
No,
And they've never stopped lips from touching a joint that wanted it or any other drug that wanted it or anything else. So the whole thing's a joke.
I mean, look at the success of the war against drugs, you know. I mean, I've got, you know, my stepdaughter is a teacher, and some of her friends, you know, and some of my friends have got kids in high school at the moment. And believe it or not, in high school, it is way easier to get drugs than it is to get alcohol. It's actually difficult for high schoolers to get
I have
alcohol.
a little story about that.
Yeah.
I have a little story about that. Guys, I'm up at my other place in Vermont right now.
Oh, cool.
And I was it's a condo association. I was trying to get on the board because it's this old lady who's a president who doesn't know what the F she's doing. I would consistently notice little drug deals going on in the area.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of the type who notices every little detail going on around me. And I swear some thugs drove up in a beat up old Mitsubishi. A kid living in the condo association was handed a brick. And he went on, when he saw me looking at it, he booked the action, and I'm sure he went out it.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, a kid, not a college freak, just like a 13-year-old. That's how bad it is. And up here in Vermont, you know, everywhere you go is like a sanctuary city. It's nuts. It's like they're helping out the criminals more than the taxpayer. It really makes me sick.
Yeah,
But
this is
talking about, you know, we're just talking about crazy laws and stuff. I understand in Vermont, it's illegal to give a moose or an elk alcohol. Is that right?
What harm would be done by a drunk moose?
Well, you know, some people consider that foreplay, but I mean, you know, I know some people are doing that, you know, because there's a law.
I've never heard of it. And I go hunting.
Well, it may be Maine.
Well, can I say for the record, you can bring the moose here and that would be legal.
Yeah. You can give as much alcohol as you like.
Right.
This is Florida. We're the free state.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't mess around with moose.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bow to your superior knowledge.
Yeah.
I would want to get very close to one.
They're like any other animal. If you make them mad, they'll kick you in the balls. I mean, it's pretty much how it works.
Yeah.
You just get a bigger bullet.
Yep. Oh well.
Like a guy getting beat up by a kangaroo. You know?
Oh yeah. Didn't some guy die recently? A kangaroo beat the shit out of him?
Yeah.
Joey.
Yeah, Joey.
Yeah.
I've heard of it happening before because there's some really big ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they're muscular like Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
They're kangaroos are cool, dude. They really are. It's, you know,
just don't piss one off.
I'm glad I don't have any Joeys in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I saw that video. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but it was all over the place for a while with a guy that was boxing with a kangaroo and he knocked the kangaroo out.
Saw the one where the kangaroo caught this guy's dog and he went up and, you know, smacked the kangaroo, give him a good right
That
hook
was
or
it.
something. Yeah. And then the kangaroo kind of like stood there all dazed and let the
Yeah.
dog go. Yeah.
You knocked him clean up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
just
what?
dazed him for a minute. He didn't fall over. He was just,
Yeah.
you know,
You should say that.
look at the colors, man.
Yeah.
Look at the colors.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna. I'm looking at this thing. I'm wondering if they're gonna go ahead and upgrade this thing at 11 o'clock, or are they gonna wait till 5?
Well, they upgraded it last night at
Ooh.
11. I stayed up for that.
Yeah. Everything, you know, the National Hurricane Center, just like everywhere else, it's always about opportunity, the best time, the politics. You have to add everything up. But they do actually choose to release things at different times for different reasons. But
Sometimes
don't-
they release the stuff early and sometimes they're late.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, they seem to be consistently conservative.
Yeah.
You know, if you watch, I don't want to get offensive, you know, about your station or Fox or Wink or any of the others, but they tend to dramatize everything. So they tend to take the most, you know, the top end of everything. But I find that NOAA, their forecasts tend to be conservative. You know, I mean, I understand, you know, that Wink wants to get people to watch it and all the rest of it. And as you say, they swing over when a storm like this is coming, you know, to almost 24/7 storm because it brings the people in. They get more advertising money, I guess. But they do tend to dramatize stuff a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I kind of agree with some of that. I had a long discussion about 3 days ago with Matt, and him and I are friends, and we talk about it. His biggest concern through this whole thing was overhyping it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to honestly say they don't want to overhype it. What one person thinks is a really, really, really big deal, another person thinks is just a big deal. And that's where we run into it, where you got people down here that are old and scared and they're living on the water. And the time for them to leave is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. So I don't know how you can overdo it at this point, really. I mean,
No.
I think you're right about the National Hurricane Center. And we're not talking liberal conservative. We're not talking that. We're talking conservative in their estimates.
Little c,
Right. And I agree. And they are very conservative. They're just like NASA.
Yeah.
NASA can literally find a 75 Buick on Mars.
Yeah.
And they'll say, look at that rock. It looks like a Buick. NOAA's kind of the same way. They don't see anything until it's rock solid. They really try to stick to the models. And I agree, they're somewhat conservative. And that's why when I saw that major hurricane sitting over us, I'm like, wow, that's pretty gutsy, pretty ballsy there. We're putting that right over there like that. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. But I also think that sometimes they're too conservative. And I'll tell you an example of that is this storm here. Because it didn't meet the definition of a tropical cyclone or an anticyclone, whatever you want to call it, because it did not meet the qualifications. In other words, high pressure aloft, low pressure below, opposite spin, lining up of convection. If you have these things, it's a tropical storm. If you don't have these things, then it's a depression or it's an Invest 98L, whatever. Because of the fact that they don't actually make that graphic.
Yeah.
You know that graphic I'm talking about? I think this one, right? Because they don't actually make this particular graphic right here, because they don't make that graphic and put it out until they're actually ready to call it something, it doesn't really get taken seriously. And had this been a storm that was already a hurricane, let's say it became a minor hurricane down in the intertropical as it comes into the Windward Islands. Let's say it was already a hurricane. This thing would have got twice the press it's getting now.
Yeah.
But because they were so conservative and because they don't like to put out tracks on things that aren't technically already storms, I was giving you guys notice 3 days ago that this thing was coming.
Yeah.
But NOAA really didn't jump on the bandwagon until this morning because they named it or last night, 11, whatever it was, because
They called it 9. Yeah.
they gave it a number. Once they gave it a number, they made a graphic. Once they made a graphic, they made it important.
Yeah, once they started drawing cones.
Right.
Yeah, they made that mistake with Sandy, Superstorm Sandy as it came in the end.
Yep.
I mean, that was astronomical, the damage that thing. It was a huge storm. It was massive. It was in area. It was huge, and it caused a massive, as you say, tidal surge, which did most of the damage. But because it didn't reach whatever that miles an hour it was never a hurricane. Yet it did way more damage than any Cat 1 hurricane ever.
And they were being very specific about, it turned extratropical just moments before it came on shore.
Yeah.
That was done for statistic reasons. There was a reason to do that because that's bull crap.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I agree with you on that. That was bull crap. It's like Andrew, when Andrew came on shore, it ripped the array off of the top of the National Hurricane Center.
Yeah.
And yet they still left it at 155 miles an hour, which was the last reading they got. Later on, they posthumously set that storm at 175 mile an hour sustained winds. So that shows you that, again, even though it ripped their own stuff off their own roof, they were still being very conservative about what they were. But the investigation panned out, and we know because they don't want to ever say something that turns out not to be true, And I'll say they walked the line. NOAA does a good job walking the line because no matter what they say, there's going to be a group of people that say, you overreacting pricks. And there's going to be another group of people over here that says, why didn't you tell me? My shit's all ruined now. So you can't win when you're the weather guy.
No,
Hey,
I
Ian.
must admit,
Yeah.
I tend to like the NOAA reports a little better than the hype you get on the TV.
Some of the
Personally,
TV stations, I think, do carry it too far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I'm the opposite. I prefer Ryan Hall, y'all, and I prefer the stuff on the hurricane sites and the stuff on Mike's weather page, because these people, they tell you the straight scoop. There's no politics. There's no, I'm running conservative for this reason, or I'm going to hype it for this reason. They're not dealing with it as much of that. They're not as corporate. They're more of private people doing things that they get paid for through advertising, but it's not a corporation. And so what I find with them is Ryan Hall, y'all, will come right out and get excited about it. He'll tell you all about it. Oh my God, it's doing this. I've never seen it. And he'll get into it.
Yeah,
The
but
weather they're not allowed to do that on TV.
No, he's more of a in the storm now, man. I mean, I like him. I watch him. But he's not so good. He's not such a great predictor. He's a really good reporter of how it is now.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Like
He's more of a live coverage guy than a daily forecast guy. No, I get it. So I think it's a line we walk. I like to watch the guys that are enthusiasts like me. I like to not always be downplayed to, and I feel like I get that sometimes from NOAA. I also feel like I get upplayed to sometimes from media sources. So I agree with you. I agree with you. And I don't think the hype on the media side is quite as bad as everybody says. And I don't think NOAA's quite as dumb sometimes as people say, oh, they're dumb. No, they do a really good job. Okay. I just said something good about the government. So y'all write that down.
Yeah. But the other thing is that they're not professional presentators
Yeah.
either. They're actually scientists or meteorologists or whatever, and they're not particularly good at the, how am I going to say this?
Right.
They're not particularly good at putting over their actual, they do it because they've got to do it. They're not doing it. That's not their main job, telling us what the weather is. Their main job is to figure it out for themselves. Secondary, they tell us about it, and they're not that great at telling us about it.
Did I, real quick, before we go on any further, did I hear Joseph out there?
I saw him for a second.
He was here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on?
I spent the last like 4 days out at a piece of property, and it was really dusty out there. Today it was really, really bad. So my voice sounds kind of nasally because my nose has been all messed up from the dust. But I saw a couple things here. I saw that the YouTube stream stopped and then went to part 2, and I didn't know what was going on with that because I wasn't here.
Yes, it stopped. I have my monitor up over here, and it literally went to last week's video suddenly. And I went back to the right link, and it wouldn't load. It wouldn't. All it would do is load the video from the beginning. So it literally, the stream stopped. Even though Zoom said it was still feeding the stream had actually stopped going out. So I stopped the stream and restarted it and put part 2 on there. Huh. I didn't know what else to do. I think I can combine them later, but I'm not sure. It doesn't matter either way.
Okay.
A lot of people do part 1, part 2, part 3 every hour. So. And truthfully, we probably should.
Yeah, you send out twice notifications. My other question was, did you get the All-Star box to Rick?
Yeah, he's got it. It's at his house.
Cool.
We maybe we'll have a Zoom on Sunday at some point. And tomorrow's pretty effed for me.
Yeah.
That's about as nice as I can put it. But after about 4 or 5 tomorrow, I might be able to do it, or anytime Sunday. All day Sunday's just storm prep, mostly ham stuff. I'd like to get a 3-way Zoom going. We'll pull those pictures up, and we'll see if we can get that going.
Yeah. Try calling me Sunday afternoon. I'm not available Sunday morning, but Sunday afternoon, give me a call.
Yeah, anytime. Perfect.
Well, I Sunday morning, early afternoonish, I have to go out to drive about 30 minutes away and go to look at a new repeater site. Did I tell you guys what happened? I told Ian what happened with the repeater.
No, tell us what happened.
So as I talked about in the last couple tech nets, I've been wanting to put up a repeater for our area up here because we got to have our own system. And I had gotten in contact with a commercial tower company, and I had gotten some information from my buddy in Miami who does tower stuff like that. He gave me some prices to expect, and I thought, okay, that sounds pretty reasonable. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't get a space here on this tower. Well, yeah, they gave me the prices, and they were just like insanely way higher than I could ever afford, and way higher than they should have been. So, I conferred with my friend in Miami who does the radio stuff, and he was like, yeah, that's insane. Don't even. He would.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to give actual numbers, but just so you guys know, we're talking like tens of thousands of dollars to get things done.
Yeah, they ordinarily for this kind of thing, what I was told to expect would be like $100 to $300 for the monthly rent to have the tower the antenna on the tower, and then several thousand for the install. So for them to have a tower climber come out and put the antenna up there and have them inspect it, everything should be, a couple thousand. And then you can do work on it yourself too at ground level and everything to get some of the costs down. But no, they quoted me $2,400 a month for the antenna to be up there. And they quoted me somewhere around, they didn't quote me, but the lady told me what I should expect was around $25,000 for the install. $25,000 to not provide me with power, not give me a building to put the repeaters in, and basically say, here's a 3x3 concrete pad. Good luck.
Yeah. After all that money, he still has to provide his own weather cabinet and wiring and everything and meter.
So two things happened. I think number one is that this company, which was Crown Castle, I really don't think the people who were doing the quote for me truly comprehended that I was not trying to put up a cellular antenna, that I was putting up this little tiny thing And they didn't really understand the tower and its configuration, because they said some things that didn't match up. Like they said, if we mount it here, then you'll be taller than the lightning rod. Well, I've been to that tower. It has no lightning rod. They also said that, oh, well, because it's 24 feet tall, your antenna, that's 24 feet of space that we can't sell to another customer. Now, I'm no cellular tower expert, but that section that I wanted to mount it on, they wouldn't mount anything there anyway. It was like the guardrails of the platform that you walk around on. So it's not like, so some of the stuff they said, I don't really think they understood what this tower actually looked like. Maybe if I had gotten somebody who actually has seen this tower in person, they may be able to give me a better quote or something. And yeah, they just were like, even at the very end, they were like, I told them, yeah, it's too much. I'm gonna have to do something else. And they're like, we look forward to helping you grow your network in the future. I'm like, I'm not trying to grow a network. I told them, I didn't tell them it was amateur radio. I told them it was a two-way radio repeater system. That's all I told them. And they still couldn't quite comprehend that. And all the data sheets they gave me and all the forms to fill out were all like, okay, how many antennas do you have? What are their azimuth? What's their power output? How many frequencies? And it's like all these questions they were asking that did not really apply. And then I send them in and they're like, you didn't really fill this out. And I'm like, well, because I'm not.
Yeah, because the answer is one.
And the lady I talked to said that that was her department, was to deal with the really small stuff, like, things like this. She said that was what her job was. So I don't know what was going on with that, but after seeing the prices they gave me and what they would, even if I spent a month on the phone with them trying to tell them what was going on, I was like, it's not worth it. So, but I do have another location just down the street from that tower, and we're thinking we're going to put down a little concrete pad and put up a 40 or 50 foot Roan 25, something like that, and then put the repeater antenna on top of it, and it'll still be on the mountain. It'll just be about 150 feet shorter. So I've done the coverage calculations again, and it's still really good coverage. And the plus with this setup would be that I would have internet and power right there, and the price would be cheaper. Everything would be better about it. So Sunday, I'm going to be going out to that location and looking around and seeing what we're going to do. So Sunday morning, early afternoon to afternoon, I may not be available, but I can try and find those pictures of the wiring again. I think I sent them to Ian once already. And
I've already found them once before. I know I have them.
Is it just one wire that's broken off?
Well, we need to check and make sure that there's the green and the blue wires both need to be checked to make sure they're in the right spots. And I think the blue one needs to be soldered back.
Well, the issue that we were having, because it was working fine after Rick fixed it the first time, I think I could key the repeater, but there was no audio.
Right, but see, we fixed that at one point.
So then it was
but I thought that, I don't know. I don't know. We didn't know exactly which of the contacts to solder it to. And I'm not sure that we've got everything right. So it needs to be checked. I plugged it in. It didn't work. I unplugged it again. So it should still work. I just want to take it. I want to make sure that the green and the blue wires and the yellow wires are all in the right spots. Well, so we just need to go through the pictures and make sure that everything's right, and it should work.
I feel like I remember the issue being either the repeater wouldn't key. I don't think it was the white wire. The white wire is the one that controls receiving and transmitting, or actually just controls receiving. I feel like it was a no audio issue. So there's probably only one wire that's broken off on this.
Probably, we're probably down to that. But I just want to check and make sure not only that the wires are all connected, and then the one that needs connected, we need to connect. But I also want to just double check that each of those wires are on the right terminals, because we've been in there twice soldering and it came in messed up, and I just want to make sure. So anyway, we'll do all that. We're just going to.
The only one I've got loose here is the blue wire. It's not connected.
The blue wire.
Yeah, whatever the blue wire is. Everything else is connected.
Oh wait, the blue wire is the one you cut to disarm the bomb.
Yeah, I see. He thought it was going to blow
up.
Got
a resistor on the end.
That's probably audio out then.
That's probably why you don't have any audio.
Yep.
You got to figure out where that goes.
It has a resistor on the end of the wire?
Yes, it does.
Oh no.
You got
All
an
right.
update.
Oh, did it come in? Let me
Well, I
look here.
got one here that says Ian has been upgraded to a tropical storm with sustained winds of 40 miles per hour.
And again, I still have not given them permission to use my name, but I guess they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, but the other Ian did.
Yeah, but he lives over across the pond. It doesn't matter.
But I built. Sorry, I want to show this thing.
Joseph, truth is, I mean, he's gonna have a camera. He's gonna be able to show us what's going on, and we're gonna be able to work on it together. So we'll get it working.
Okay.
And we got time, and I'm gonna have we'll all three have time to do it. So
I want to
it'll be
show
fun.
this thing. It's also part of an all-star node. So I have here this tri-band Baofeng radio, and I have another.
I got that one. Got that
You
same one.
probably do. You got the red one.
I got the exact same one, but it's red. Yeah, it's tri-band. It's the tri-band. It's the UV9S.
Ooh, you know what I just realized? I could put this on 220 and use my 220 handheld on the all-star node.
Yeah, you could.
I built this thing. So I wanted to build another all-star node, but I just recently bought this Motorola radio, and it's a mono band. It only does 2 meter. And the little radio that's on the one you have, Ian, and the one that I had before only does UHF.
Right.
So then the node was UHF only. So I was like, okay, I have extra Baofeng radios. Why don't I use one of them? Well, I found this schematic thing online, and I built this little PCB thing that takes the little sound card, and it actually takes a Baofeng headphone connector, and you need a couple things for this to work. So you need audio in and out, you need push to talk, and you need COS, which is the thing that tells the Raspberry Pi that the Baofeng radio is receiving a transmission. So when you plug this into the radio, you don't get COS, just like there's no pin for that. So what this little circuit does is it actually, the radio superimposes like a 2-volt DC charge over the output audio or something like that. So this little it's got a transistor and some capacitors and resistors and stuff wired up, and it actually gets that COS signal out of the little plug. So now I can use any Baofeng radio for an all-star node, and it has no modifications done to the radio. Because with that other little one, you had to completely hack apart the motherboard and do all kind of crazy stuff to make it work. But now you just plug this into the Pi and plug the other end into a radio, and it just works, which is super cool.
That's really nice if you need to switch radios real quick. Go ahead.
I've done some of that kind of thing, and you can just use the DC bias coming out of the radio. You don't need the transistor and all that other stuff, because the Raspberry Pi inputs are 3-volt-ish, and this output is 3-volt-ish. Anyway, works without the transistor too. I've done a bunch of remote Baofeng stuff.
The way this works is the All-Star software interfaces with this sound card, which is called a CM108 sound card. And that sound card I modified to work with this, and it's what has the PTT and the COS line on it. So I don't know, maybe have to make custom firmware or something and put it on one of the GPIO pins. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I built my own software, and it uses SOCKS to send the audio over the internet. And it's got, it just uses GPIO pins for push to talk and reading the COS.
Wow.
Anyway.
Well, that's really cool. I couldn't find out how to do that online, or otherwise I've never done that. Oh. All my stuff is always just following guides. At least I'm pretty good at it. At least I'm fairly decent at that.
Oh, I just want to give you guys a quick update here, and then we'll go right back to you. I'm not taking it away. I'm just going to show a quick update here. New models have just come out, and again, we're seeing some of them starting to move back towards the right again. So I just want to let you guys know. Remember, I told you earlier, as the overnights come out, they'll probably move back to the right, and it looks like that's probably what's going to happen. We had them all pretty much over, and now they're starting to move slowly back. I just wanted to mention that, and the update will be in here in just a minute, the graphic part of it. But it does look like they are updating it and they're going to make it tropical storm. Ian will know here in just a few minutes. Sounds weird to say that. Going to have a real problem with this.
Oh man, this is going to be so funny.
And nobody will even listen to my complaint at the Hurricane Center. So.
I wonder why.
Bastards.
You know, I bet they have, every time they name a hurricane, I bet they get 1 or 2 letters from disgruntled people who are upset that it's named after them.
Look, if someone will call 911 because there was a pickle on their burger, somebody was bitching about their name. I guarantee it.
Joe,
I cracked up when they named the hurricane out in Pacific Adolf and got all upset about that.
Yeah.
You know what we need? We really need a hurricane called Karen, don't we?
The name has been used and retired.
Oh, really?
Oh, it has. That'd be fun if it just kind of sat out there and bitched.
Yeah. It's already been used and retired, and I don't remember exactly when, but I noticed that.
Wow, this is cool. I'm looking at this CM108 USB sound card. That's really cool, and it's $5.
Yeah, it's $5, and if you get the version that has no case on it, like the exposed PCB, you unsolder the connectors and you solder on some wires in different places, and you put a resistor here and there, and you get yourself a interface.
Yeah.
Is that the same as the Sabrent? Because I use that a lot.
I don't know. It might be just a rebranded thing or something.
Yeah, because that's the Sabrent, and it's a couple dollars.
Oh yeah, that's probably it's probably just got a plastic case on it.
Yeah, that's the one it's a couple dollars on Amazon.
I think I honestly think I have that exact same one.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? I've worked about 1,000 contacts on FT8 with this one. Yeah.
And this is the circuit board that I built. That plugs into a Raspberry Pi.
That's really cool.
Circuit boards.
I like that
nowadays.
Back in the days when you could get a Raspberry Pi.
Well, this was a year ago. I mean, I got like three of them in this box. I'm like, where'd these come from? I get to sell these and make real money.
You retire on it.
Man, we should have invested in Raspberry Pis.
Can I break in a minute?
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Can I see by a show of hands who in the last year has purchased a RIM Alenco?
A what?
A RIM. From Scott Zimmerman. It's Scott.
If you don't know what it is, you probably didn't do one. I know I didn't. If anyone did, speak up now.
I thought Joe, being the gregarious, worldly person he is, might have some input about getting the life light working. I could switch cameras here, but there's a red light saying that you don't have a link radio. That's solid now because I'm just working on configuring the Pi. And then there's a yellow light, and my yellow light should be flashing. And that's what he calls the lifeline light. And you don't need the link radio plug, turned on when you're configuring, but I need like a RIM Alenco guru to guide me through the steps because the proprietor of the company certainly doesn't do that.
Does anyone know anyone working on those kind of systems that we can hook him up with?
Yeah, I really.
Man, I wish I did.
Are you a member of a club?
No.
Okay. No, I get it. I'm just a member of my club too. So, I don't know.
Club of one.
Yeah,
I'm no help. If it hasn't got Yeso or Apple on it, I don't buy it. So I'm no help.
I'm almost there. It's just a little bit more tinkering. I got it working last night on somebody else's node. I was building a blank node for somebody else. And I got everything working. And then I got Almon 2. I got an error on there. So it's like I'm going one step forward to go one step backwards, which I really don't want to do.
Oh, that sounds like WinLink.
2 steps forward and call it a night.
Are you sure that wasn't WinLink you were working on?
No.
WinLink is one step forward, 19 and a half steps back. It works really cool.
Well, that All-Star the almond thing. I've messed with that many times and I've never gotten it to work. It seems like it's really outdated software.
Yeah. I'm using beta 6. And this
Maybe
guy
that's
from
better.
California told me that was the latest. And I mean, I enjoyed it when it was All-Star 1 and I had a Raspberry Pi 1. Now I got an RPI 4 B+. And with it, that's not it, obviously. It's the software. It's very buggy.
Are you using the ham VoIP version of All-Star or the
No, I have a card burnt for that it's a lot of questions. It's, all the questions about are you USB invert or USB or, it's the right questions. I just don't need the beta 6 bypasses all those questions.
I wonder how what? Does it guess the answers or have defaults or something? What's up with that?
It doesn't ask those questions. It should ask which interface I'm using. I don't know. It kind of improvises, but it did work. It's just I couldn't get Allman working. I was getting this sign-in error, which everything was fine.
Oh,
everything was good, and still got this error that said,
All-Star, dealing with All-Star is something that's really strange because you can take 2 Raspberry Pis, 2 identical SD cards, 2 identical images flashed to the cards and get 2 completely different results when you load it up.
That's what I mean.
It's weird, man. I've had the same type of login issues you're describing, especially when you try and use VoIP software to get into the node. It'll I'll be sitting there staring at the name and password on the terminals that it verified correct on the phone. It's oh, you can't log in. So
I did everything correctly.
You probably did. You probably did. You might just want to
password minus cb.ht password admin, and then I added my password, and it still said no deal. And then I
just try reinstalling the whole thing.
Worked.
Yeah,
I did it again tonight. It worked. It's what the hell is going on here? Like my drill gun only works on one wall, not the other. My screw gun. It's like a great analogy. It's like I could almost laugh now at it. But if I've seen people have an easier time using the other software.
Yeah, that's why I use the other software.
Okay. That goes through every question. There's 20 questions.
It's more like 10 questions.
Right.
That's why I started with the software you're using, and I got so frustrated with it because it was inconsistent. And I went to the ham VoIP, and since then, it asks me the questions, but you can leave everything as default. But I always usually answer the questions because they're relevant. So it'll ask you, I built this little circuit board over here and I had to put in the right options because, you have inverted PTT and the cost high and low, and you got to tell it which is which. And if you have a interface that you made, you probably just leave it as default and you're good to go. I mean, the questions aren't weird. It's just like time zone. What's your node number? What's the node password? Yeah. I mean, that's all it really asks you.
I left invert COS at 0.
Well, what you can do is you can go in the ham VoIP version of the software, you can go to the USB tune menu, and there's a live telemetry viewer. And that's great for diagnosing problems. Because when I started these projects, I was watching guides online, like, why is my radio not working? And it was like, go to this tune menu. Well, the other software doesn't have the same diagnostic tools that ham VoIP has. So it really helped a lot because you can see if it's even registering your key presses and stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. And the funniest thing of all was that Doug, I hate to mention names, but Doug does not use WinSCP. Right. What do you do? Everything from the Pi all the time, Doug? You kidding me? He actually told me that on the air. He's an anti-WinSCPer. I mean, it makes everything a lot easier. You just go right in. I know he doesn't want to reset the permissions. That's another thing I forgot how to do, resetting the permissions. And then I go to reset the permissions, 0644, the octal.
Yeah.
And it says no deal. It's kicking me out. Technology just hates me this week. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, that's what you get when you deal with those nodes. Echolink is a lot easier, but the audio quality is not as good. So
If you swear by, have I emailed you before?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was on the air with Mauricio and them for the other coast for a while.
Oh,
Okay,
you're
I'm
from
friends with-
Miami.
Yeah, I'm friends with what's his face?
Sergio,
Yeah, there you go.
Robert,
Yeah.
Mikey.
Yep.
Mike, do what you
them.
like. Okay. Yeah, I may have talked to you or something on the air. I'm not sure.
You probably heard me. You may have heard me 10 years ago when I was down at my other place. In
No,
Naples.
I didn't get into the 325 until like maybe 4 years ago
Okay.
at the earliest. So I don't know if you were on that or not, but I feel like your call sign looks familiar, but I'm not 100% sure.
Wow. Daniel, there we go. Danny.
Daniel,
W4YXI.
yeah, Black Sheep.
Right. He knows
Yeah,
me
he's
pretty
the one.
well.
He's the one who took my All-Star node. I mailed him an All-Star node so I get into the 325 when we moved up here to Alabama. That's who I sent the node to, and he put it in his house because he had line of sight to the repeater. So
He never used it beyond that day.
the node?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I put it up and I used it, but he just used his radios. He didn't have a reason to use it.
Oh, okay. I thought you sent him one.
Yeah, I said, well, no, I sent him the node and it had a little radio on it tuned to the 325 frequency so that I could remote into the 325.
Okay.
The 325 doesn't have its own linking software.
He's into that remote stuff. He spent big bucks on a Kenwood that's entirely devoted to that exclusively. But anyhow, I'm going to tinker with this a little bit more. I mean, my brain is ready to explode here. Beta 6 should be working.
Wow.
We didn't have problems like this at the MIT Blackjack.
Well, remember that it's beta. So it's not
that's the
full
latest one.
release.
That's the latest one.
Yeah, but it may have bugs.
Cockroaches.
That's why it's in beta. They're not ready to do a full release yet.
Well, nothing's going to happen without Jim Dixon, right? Is Tim Sawyer going to do everything from now on? And they eliminated the help desk. There is no more help desk.
Yeah.
And they weren't
getting
wicked
support.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, getting support is impossible now.
Oh, man.
All right.
All right.
Well, that worked out good. You guys, you knew what he was talking about. That's the main thing. The goal here is to at least have one other person that knows what the hell you're talking about. That's the goal here. All right, that's good though. Yeah, that's awesome. And I've spoke to several people by email this week about the DMR, and I'm letting you guys know that I'm changing my attitude on DMR. I do want to get into it. I had decided a long time ago that that I would see DMR in hell. But lately, I've been finding it to be a pretty inexpensive way for people all around to connect and things. So, and I also now with the Dude Star and these different things, I'm wanting
bugs.
I'm wanting to connect it up so that we can
Chris had a strange thing on his hand.
Oh, that's liverworts.
Oh,
I have cirrhosis of the liver, man. That's what happens to your skin.
Ooh.
Liver.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. I do want to I want to go ahead and open it back up again to anybody that that had anything they would like to say about the storm, the hurricane, preps, any questions you might have or want to ask. I will tell you guys the latest advisory has officially now come in from the National Hurricane.
Yeah, you can click that and get the 11. I don't think it's much changed.
Yeah.
Well, it's moved everything to the right a little bit.
Yeah, there's the 11.
And the M has moved down, and then it goes to H. So at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, it's now an M, and that's close to the Keys.
It's over.
Right.
Well, you can probably see it. And then the 8 p.m. on Wednesday,
the reason
is up at Tampa, and it's now a H.
The reason that's an H is because it's 70 miles inland.
Yeah.
And once it gets past the coast, it's going to lose a category right there. So that doesn't mean it's going to only be an H when it gets to the coast. That means that once it's inland, these M's, if you notice, they're always spaced out, usually 24 hours apart or 12 hours apart. And so you can see here, it's 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, and then 24, 24. So, that's why these things seem to move a little bit. It's because the track has moved, the whole forecast thing has moved forward just a little bit.
Yeah.
The center line is still, it's still Sarasota. Really hasn't changed. I don't see any change in his forecast. Other than my main grievance, which is that they should not. We got to find another name for that storm.
Get over it.
It cannot be called that.
Hurricane Dave.
I want to call it.
Don't do that. You'll piss off half the world. There's 3 days on here tonight.
You could call it Hurricane Ass and it would still.
Yes,
that's true.
Whatever you want. Hillary.
I remember when they didn't have men's names.
Yeah, it was just women's names. Yeah. Try to find 10 women's names that start with I.
Yeah.
Ingrid,
and there's about 3 of them. Yeah.
Ingrid,
Eileen.
They've run out. They actually have run out. They almost have run out of I names. They're just, even when you add the guy ones, Ian and Igor and all these other, you still, if they retire 5 or 6 or 7 I names and they've got 6 more on the list, there's not many more left on the reserve list beyond that. So you'll have to get into crazier ones you don't hear as often. But anyway, there you go. So now expected to be a hurricane as it passes over the island there.
And we're probably not going to know anything really much more positive until it gets closer to the Straits of Florida.
Yeah,
I'll be right.
Well, just like with Charlie, we will not know an exact landfall spot until probably an hour and a half before it happens.
Yeah.
And by then it's
Everything in that dotted cone is uncertain. I mean, they're pretty confident all the way up to the Isle of Youth, and that's about it.
Yeah, but Europe, if you look at the cone of uncertainty has definitely gotten smaller. I mean, if you look at it from where we're at right now, that cone of uncertainty went from about 600 miles wide down to about 400 miles wide. Yeah. It's 100 miles from here to Tampa. So I figure that's about 200 miles and about 200 miles. So your cone of uncertainty this circle is shrinking. These circles are shrinking. And what that's showing you is they're getting more as the storm forms, it's becoming more consistent. The models are becoming more consistent. The hardest thing for a model to do is find a genesis point and then plot from that forward. Now we basically have a genesis point and we know at this point it's 40 mile an hour. We know where its strength is. It's a little harder for models to try to do something with a blob of crap out there. Yeah. It's a little, once you get an actual center of circulation, we actually have a perfect starting point now, and we get a little better modeling, which they're getting now, and they still show it hitting right about the same spot again. So interesting that that's where it's at. I don't know what else can happen at this point. We have to watch the speed of it moving, like we talked about earlier. If the storm speeds up, it's going to curve sooner, and that's going to bring it on, and that'll put us on the clean side and take it on through the state. If the storm slows down and slows down and slows down,
you said that backwards.
I know it's going to turn right. If it slows down, it's going to turn right sooner. Because
the low is the cold front is push it.
Yeah, the front's going to continue to come down, and if the front, wherever that front is when it meets the hurricane, that's where the right turn happens. Basically, I'm sorry if I said it backwards, but you know what I'm talking about. And so a faster storm would mean further up the peninsula. A slower storm would mean that the front's going to make it closer, and it's going to make that right turn happen sooner. If it's a slower storm, it's probably going to make it up here further before it starts to make that turn. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at, is the forward speed of the storm, really, to tell us where we're at with that. All right. Any more questions on any of this? Anything I can help with?
Yeah. Are you having another Zoom meeting involving technicalities on Sunday?
I wasn't, but I can. I never really thought about that, but we could come on Sunday evening at 8:00 and do a hurricane update for an hour or something. I'm willing.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, because I want to
Send the
know where
email,
this.
baby.
Let's do that. I'll send you guys will be getting two emails a day starting tomorrow. You'll be getting a morning update around 6 or 7 a.m. and an evening update, probably 6 or 7 in the evening. I'm going to wait till after the 5s come out, and then within an hour or so you'll get the update. And I also something else I've done so you don't have to. I have subscribed to all 5 of our counties' emergency alert notifications. And so starting tomorrow, twice a day, you'll also get any notifications that have been sent out by any of the county EOCs, any of the local Aries. If you have a local Aries team, if your Aries team gets a notification, if you send it to me, I'll publish it. I'm going to basically publish all the information down the email. So if Collier sends out a warning on something, I'm going to send that out too. I'm going to put it all in there. So they're going to be a little long, but if you just scroll down through there and find what interests you, there's a lot of information that's going to be coming out rapidly between shelters and everything else. So these emails will hopefully be helpful to you. What you find is everybody oversimplifies everything. I don't. What I do, I provide it all in a way that hopefully you can find everything. And instead of trying to simplify it down, because we're not the folks that like to simplify things normally. We like to know all the facts, and that's what I'm kind of trying to do with the emails. Okay, so I'm going to set that up for Sunday at 8:00. And I'll set it up. We'll do a Sunday at 8:00. By then, this thing will be 24 hours away. And we should have a lot more information. I'll probably already be live at that point. So what I'll do is I'll discontinue the live probably. I'll probably run them concurrent is what I'll do. I'll just run them both. I'll see how I can do that. But
As well as be on 444, 775.
Yeah.
yes, I will be on that all weekend. I'm not going to announce nets or put out any information or anything on it, but I am going to be monitoring it all weekend. And then once conditions start, probably as soon as Collier starts receiving tropical storm force winds, at that point, I'll go ahead and activate the WatchNet. I'll make an announcement that the WatchNet is now active. If anybody wants to check in, you can. And then about every 30 minutes, I'm just going to come on. It's what I call a passive net. I'm basically going to be listening every half hour. I'll come on KO4 EFS net control for the Southwest Florida WatchNet. Does anyone want to check in or have any information for the net at this time? And I'll just do that like every 30 minutes or so. Take any information that comes in. You guys can check in anytime at will. If you want to just give me a call and say, hey, I'm monitoring, I'll be on here. I'm going to be riding a storm out with you. I would love to get a list of folks that are going to ride the storm out with us here so that we can talk to each other during the storm. I think that's so important to have a voice in the storm. And another thing about ham radio, if you get on ham radio and start talking on the 775 to myself and to Rick and to others that are here, we've got years and years and years of hurricane experience. Many of us have hurricanes under our belt. I actually did work for communications and emergency management in my career, as well as fire, EMS, and law enforcement. So I have a lot of perspective. And now I work for the media. So I have a lot of very, very interesting perspectives on hurricanes, and I'm willing to assist either on the air here or privately or in an email. I'm willing to assist anybody with any questions or concerns that you might have. Hurricanes are something that, you hear what you hear on the media, but there's always those little things like putting your clothes in plastic bags that you'll be like, wow, that was something that I never learned on TV, or it's not in the Wink News Hurricane Guide. It's true. It's not. There's little things you learn along the way, especially like evacuation routes and what fills up first and what goes first. The first thing to run out? Gas cans.
Yeah.
Probably,
I went and got some gas cans.
First, freaking thing to run out will be gas cans. Why? Because we don't carry a lot of them in stock normally. I was in Home Depot. The first whole row of the 5-gallon ones was already gone. There was 2 more rows. I pulled 3 more of those out and took them with me. There was probably about 10 left when I left the store, and I went 3 days ago.
And they wanted $58 a piece.
Holy crap. I got mine for 26.
No, I went across the street to Walmart.
Yeah.
I had them for 24 a piece. And I bought 3 of them over there.
It's not like Lowe's to scalp. What the hell are they doing?
I don't know what they're doing, but that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a Depot guy, but I do like Lowe's.
Yeah. I'm a Depot guy too, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But I figured I would go to Walmart first because they had the propane cylinders cheaper than I had been over there the day before. They had the little pound propane cylinders cheaper than Home Depot did. So I bought some over there. So
I'll tell you what, if you can find anyone, we've got a guy here down on Bonita Beach Road, just the other side of Ode 41, and he will fill your tanks for you, and he will fill a partially filled tank. He only charges you for what you have. And basically you can get what Home Depot's charging $21, $25 for. You can get it for $16.
Yeah.
You know, the jumbo Rhino or whatever is the Rhino ones.
Yeah.
I've got
a 20-pound tank here, and I've also got a refilling thing. Now, some of those things are legal to fill and others aren't. The ones that you buy in the store are not legal to fill and transport. You can fill them yourself, but at your own risk. But I've got 5 of them which are refillable. But
I was going to say, Rick, I don't know if you know it or not, Rick, but illegal is a sick bird.
That's right.
Yeah.
Especially in a hurricane.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, though, is there any chance that DeSantis could put this hurricane on a plane and ship it somewhere else?
Only if it's going to Martha's Vineyard.
Or if it's illegal. Yeah, okay, I know.
Look, Lovey, it's illegals.
Actually, there's nothing to keep it from going to Martha's Vineyard. But
there you go.
The other one was headed that way, then it decided it got frightened.
You know, the funny thing is, the funny thing is, this actually could go to Martha's Vineyard. It's either going to loop back into the Carolinas or go somewhere up there or go out. But
some of the models have had it going into Myrtle Beach and in the Myrtle Beach and Wilmington area. So
Florida will take a lot out of it, but it's emerging into decently favorable conditions over in the Atlantic. So could be. Sometimes the Atlantic has some energy over there that could do it. So yeah, it could be. I don't know. All right, so let's do this. Sunday night, we're going to do that. My plans for tomorrow and Sunday is I got to get my antennas down. I got to get I'm going to take everything down. I've got a rack over here on the back side, and I'm actually going to mount 3 or 4 of my antennas on there right above roof level.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take them down off where they're at and just bolt them on there. It won't take me but an hour. And that way they're there and they're on, they're still working. I can still have my aircraft tracker up. I can still have all my different things working, my different antennas to pick up different things, and the Broadcastify antennas and all that. I can put all that down lower on there and it'll still work. And the thing is, I want you guys to think about this is something we learned in Andrew. We went down to Andrew after it. And I think I've told you guys this before. What we learned when we got down there was that all of our 2-meter equipment worked about twice as good as it did before the storm. It was amazing. Down in Centro Capacito, which is down off of 360 something, down way south of Florida City. I mean, you go to the woods, you make a left. It was a migrant camp down there, and I was down there working on it, getting them tetanus shots and first aid. There was people down there walking around with gashed open legs and stuff, and we were trying to get medical treatment to everybody down there. This was 2 days after the storm, and no matter what we did, we couldn't quite get all the resources where they needed to be at that point. But the neat thing was I picked up my Meritrack Motorola that's 110 watts, and I had a 5/8 wave spring antenna on the roof of my little Dakota pickup truck. And I picked up the mic and I said, Lee Control, Bayshore 4. And Chuck comes back and he goes, Bayshore 4. And I'm like, I didn't know they sent Chuck down here. I thought he was still back in Lee County. I said, yeah, be advised, I'm going to need the following. I'm down at Centro Campesito. We have none of this and none of that. Copy so far. He comes back. He goes, Bayshore 4, are you down in the affected area? I said, yeah, 10-4. He comes back. He goes, 10-4, this is Lee Control in Fort Myers. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. I said, that's 150 miles away. And I'm sitting, but because there was no electricity on for 100 miles. And I'm sitting in the middle of the Everglades. And I've got this 5/8 spring antenna, and I'm talking 150 miles to a stick that was 350 feet tall at the EOC. What would the real funny part was, I was hardly able to get my command center, which was only 30 miles away. I was jumping over them, I guess. But anyway, it was a neat thing. And what's always been neat about that to me was when we were down there, our radios worked very differently, but they worked very well. And we were all talking on our fire radios, all simplex. We were just talking on simplex, and we could all hear each other. It was kind of amazing. It really was. You don't normally, if you're in a city or even a town, your radios don't work worth a crap because of all the interference and everything. So, and I'll tell you what else. There's no leaves on the trees. There's not even any small branches left. Okay. That cuts down a lot of your radio signal right there, especially pine trees. Yeah. So if you have no pine needles, no pine trees, the branches are all cleaned out. The power lines are down. The ones that are up are off. None of the EM sources are working. The air conditioners and the refrigerators that normally put out these large EM fields, they're all shut down. What you end up with is a very effective radio system for a little while until everything starts coming back on. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you can't reach the 775 right now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't protect your antenna. And after the storm, go out and stick it up really high. And I bet you can get us after the storm, provided we have a major outage here. I mean, there's always that possibility it's going to keep on going, keep on trucking. But anyway,
I hope so.
All right. Anything else on that?
No, just thanks for the newsletters and keep them up. They're really good.
I appreciate that. I really do. I definitely will. I enjoy doing them. I don't mind doing them. And I've gotten pretty good at collating and putting information down like that and getting it back out. So I used what I've learned on the newsletter for a year and a half, and I'm just turned it into something else. So I appreciate it. I'm glad. Those of you who are sending it out to groups and to other places, thank you very much for propagating it out. I really appreciate that. And we'll try to get some more to do the same thing and eventually get this thing out everywhere. Our numbers tonight on Zoom were pretty good, better than it's been. And our numbers tonight on YouTube were about 5 times normal. So that's awesome. So we're going to hope for the best there. If you're on YouTube, please check the thumbs up, give us a like, and maybe leave us a comment. The best thing, though, is hit that subscribe button. And for those of you who are on the Zoom, if you get a chance, go over and like a few of our videos, watch them for a few minutes. All that stuff helps on the algorithms. We're doing good. We're doing good right now. I think we're up to 353 subscribers. We would like to double that through this incident. And I think we can do that. I hate to sound gratuitous here, like we're using this hurricane to get hits. Those ghoulish bastards. No, I'm just using what's happening that I have no control over to try to get some more attention to our website that we're trying to do. That's all. We're going to do live coverage and all kinds of stuff. And we're going to see how many subscribes and likes we can get to beat the algorithms on YouTube. I'm not ashamed to say that. That's what we're doing. And we're also providing great information to hams that are outside the area and would like to know what's going on. So if I can do 2 or 3 really cool things with one thing, I'm going to do it. So there you go. All right. Other than that, you'll get 2 emails a day for the next 2 days, and then we'll be back on Sunday night for a special hurricane broadcast, Hurricane Ian broadcast hosted by Hurricane Ian.
And in favor of me.
Yes, there you go.
In my favor.
Oh my God. I'm holding my own damn party now.
Yeah.
Same 8 o'clock ish.
Yeah, we'll do it 8 o'clock on Sunday, and I'll be here. I'll start the Zoom up 20 minutes earlier, so everybody can get in. I'll make sure the email. I'll remind you in a couple of different emails, bright letters at the top, that we're going to do that special broadcast, and then it will be on YouTube and Zoom like we normally do, so everybody can see us. And that'll be Sunday night at 8 o'clock, right here where you're watching us now. You can do it on Zoom or YouTube. So we'll do that, and I'll get that announcement. I'll go ahead and announce that in the next 4 mailings that go out. So that way everybody will know it's coming up, and maybe we can get a big crowd in here. And by then we'll even have more meat to talk about. Well, it'll really be getting down and dirty by then. So we'll go.
We'll have
all right.
to start playing the tune. I'm so vain.
I bet you think this show is about you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Swap shop tomorrow.
yes, swap shop tomorrow, and there will not be storm conditions. So go to the swap shop.
Yeah, I'll go by that.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing POTA on Sunday morning at Corsham Park again. So if you hear me, give me a shout. And Willie, if you're going to sell one of those Raspberry Pis, give me a shout. I'm good on QRZ.
No, I need a half a dozen of them just to do the stuff that I'm doing around here, and I happen to find
Okay. I
this
thought you
box
said
of-
you got a big box of them when you could.
No,
make money.
I found this box of Baofeng remote radio stuff that I had been. No, and there's 3 Raspberry Pis in here because when I moved from Massachusetts, I just threw everything in a box. So,
Okay.
I found them, but I need more than I even have. So,
No problem.
past Willie was good to me.
I remember back when Raspberry Pis were plentiful and cheap. Those were the day. Those were the days. The good old
I
days.
so
That's what
wish
gas
I had
cost
bought a couple,
$1.89 a gallon.
$35.
Yeah,
That's it.
$35.
Or 200, right?
Now PCs
Yeah.
are cheaper.
Yeah.
I bought a PC. You can get a PC for $60 if you're close to a PC World or whatever they're called. But
Used Mac Minis make
Microsensor.
wonderful Debian boxes. Just if you
Yeah.
want to run Linux on something that doesn't need GPIO or whatever.
yeah, I've got one running here. But I've bought one. One of those. I got a couple of projects, but it's no big rush. But okay, maybe I'll catch you on POTA on Sunday morning. If not, I'll see you all guys on Sunday evening. So
All right.
I'm off. Thanks, Ian.
All right. Yep. Sounds good, guys. We'll catch everybody later. I'm going to go ahead and if there's nothing else, does anybody have anything else before we sign off? Any quick announcements?
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
did-
All right.
I
We
did
gotta-
put a little link in the chat room. It's just an interesting site about call signs.
Okay. I just brought it up on another screen here so I can look at it later.
Yeah.
But what's it do? Just real quick. I know people want to go to bed.
It roughly shows you the allocations and I think if you look hard enough, you can find a place where it does available call signs.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. It's
It's just an interesting site to put in your list and check out.
Oh, this is awesome. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for. Oh, and these are all stats.
Yeah.
Oh, I love stats. 22% of people in Florida, of amateurs in Florida, are extra. 6%, and then 26%. I can't believe how many people are still advanced. And then,
I'm advanced.
of course, your technicians, 43%.
I think I saw in there that there's actually still people with a novice license.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. I think you can continue renewing whatever license you have.
Yeah.
Is the way it is. I know there's one of the guys over at the other club there that I talked to a while back, and he is an advanced. And he don't care about he's like me. I care absolutely nothing about the extra. I don't even see the need to ever waste my time. But and he's the same way. He's like, I don't care about extra, but I like the advanced because it makes me unique.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
got one too. That's what I have.
There you go. Yeah. And the difference between general and advanced or advanced and extra is really not that much.
Not
A
that
few,
much.
a half turn of the dial here and a half turn there. It's really not a lot.
Yeah.
And
just gotta
I've
run
never
about
sat there and go,
the-
man, I wish I had my extra so I could talk to these two guys. What I find is all the contesting usually takes place on general bands. And I don't know. I just don't see a reason for it all, but whatever. I'm happy.
You still had to have I think, 13 words a minute to pass advanced.
Yep.
Yeah, you had to have 13 words a minute. I'm one of the last ones that took a code test and a theory test in an FC, not really an FCC office, but where FCC had gone to do the test. I've never been a Canadian ham. Never taken a VE exam.
That's funny. I love it.
All right. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody. If there's nothing else, we'll let you guys go. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet, and we're broadcasting worldwide on YouTube, utilizing Zoom as our main platform. We'll be back on Sunday night for a special Hurricane Ian edition hosted by Hurricane Ian. I'm going to get some mileage out of that. And then we'll see how it goes after that. Watch for our live broadcasts, watch for our emails. If you want our emails, just send me an email and with the word subscribe, and I'll make sure
we'll
you get
know more by then about where the thing's gonna go. That would be nice.
Yeah. It's going to probably look very similar to what it does now, but we'll be a lot more sure.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how it goes. All right, everybody, have a good night out there. This is
Hello.
KO4 EFS. I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you guys next time. This is the Southwest Florida TechNet broadcast.